Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our continued Roadmap to Recovery series. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Glen Mintrim, who is, of course, the Chief Executive at Wendy Wu Tours. So, hi, Glen, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you very much, Lucy. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's really great to see you. It's a long time since we had a chat. It's been a long period, hasn't it, for us all to get through. And I know people will want to hear from you particularly because obviously your bread and butter of what Wendy Wu Tours does is over in the Far East. I know you've expanded a little bit, but obviously China is core for you. That's how people, I think, probably know you best. And it's obviously been very difficult where COVID originated and where, you know, a lot of the world is still not open. So perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about how it's been for you guys and where you are now.
Yeah, of course. And quite rightly so. I was speaking to some friends the other day in the travel industry, and it's interesting because at Wendy Wu Tours, you know, our signature is China and Japan, and we're number one globally touring to China and Japan. And of course, when I talked to them about other stuff that we were doing, which we'll talk about a bit later, they're like, I've got to be embarrassed. These are travel counselor guys that I've known for years. So I started in Lum Poly as an apprentice. So I know all these guys all around the industry. And they were like, we're really a bit embarrassed that we didn't know you did these other things. We all thought it was Japan and China. And what we have found, and when you say how it's affected us, so if I move now, we'll go back in a moment. But right now, what we're finding is trade bookings are much, much lighter than they ever were before. But our volume is there, but it's coming direct. So our direct customers are getting the message of what we're doing, but the trade is still seen as very much Japan and China.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting. So for us going back where it started, we kind of got ripplings of the news back in November and December 2019. Not really, we didn't think it was going to be big, yeah? We got to January 2020 and kind of felt, oh, this is getting a bit worrying now. Things are going to start happening. But like everybody in the world, we kind of thought it would be a few month thing. Yeah.
We all did.
We thought, you know, March is going to close up. We're all going to go and work from home. September, we're going to start traveling again.
Yeah.
Because there was news about vaccines and all sorts of things going on. So nobody really worked out exactly how quickly everyone needed to act. So the first thing as a business, how it impacted us, we operate from the UK, Australia and New Zealand from a selling point of view. And all our customers join tours in China and Japan and Vietnam. And that is our bread and butter, quite rightly so. And that's where it's always been in India as well, coming up as well. And what we found was we had, leading up to COVID, we had a record-breaking year due for 2020.
Oh.
So we were like, oh God, this is awful.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
It's going to be so good because we were doing so well. We were about 25% up.
Great.
And which was amazing and phenomenal. Yeah. They had all these people booked and all over China and Japan, and it was just going great. And we were like, oh, that's so bloody annoying because our Asia specialist product was really coming through and people really wanted to get out to see Asia particularly.
Yeah.
So for us, it was really disappointing to turn and see that move away. What we saw was
people, sorry, Glenn, just to interrupt, did they, at the time, did they just change their, you know, date of departure? Did they keep with, you know, when people were cancelling, were they sticking with you but saying, all right, we'll maybe go next year? Or were they cancelling outright or picking totally different destinations? What was happening? At
that point, when we started cancelling, a really good question is, at that point, we had our personal target and our personal ambition was to achieve 70% conversion to change.
Okay.
And we achieved that. We achieved about 73%. So 73% of us people stuck with us and they changed to the following year. Pretty straightforward. And people were quite comfortable with that. And they were quite happy with that because at this point, people weren't worried about, they were like, okay, well, you know, a year's out, that's fine. We'll go then. So that's what happened. So we were very fortunate that those people moved into that year. And then some people now have had 2 to 3 date changes now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And they've stuck with us. So we're trying to keep people interested. And that was the main thing. So for us, we had our number one destination, believe it or not, is Japan. Second is China. Third is Vietnam. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's how it started trending before COVID anyway. So it was kind of like, okay, because China is one of those countries that I think is going to be the hardest one to get going because of the Chinese getting in there and everything. So right now, our number one destination is Japan still by volume.
Okay. Yeah.
The departures going into this year. So if we look at this year where we are today, from where we were with COVID, what we've been through, if everyone was allowed to depart right now, and the governments were to say, like they are with Europe Green, unfortunately, you can't get into Japan. You can't get into China still, yeah? So we've still got that same problem. But if all of our customers were able to travel, we'd have a record-breaking year. Really? And one of the reasons for that is because we're so lean now. Because our Future Size and Shape as a business came out We've got a really great team now, but we have gone, like everybody, from Australia, just Australia, New Zealand, and the UK team. We've gone from about 180 people to 36 people.
Gosh, yeah. Well, needs must.
And those 36 people have been phenomenal. I'm so proud of the team.
Oh.
They literally have been so versatile in their roles. We've skilled them up. Some people are doing a bit more, people that would specialize in certain areas of marketing have kind of diversed out a bit. Retail, we've merged reservations and operations together. Product team have become more global. We've globalized finance. So we've been able to be very effective with what we're working with, because if you think about it, the team have had to deal from 180 staff to 36. And actually, we're actually, if you put up our whole seasons together, we're 10% up over on what we were in 2019 on our books. So it's quite, they've got to service those customers still, And we've got to remember that. So whilst we've made all this leanness, and we've actually released our big offices as well. So we've actually, as a business with our business owner, we were very much about home, working from the office was important Monday to Friday. Now everybody works hybrid, and we all do Zoom meetings. And the other day, the poor things, we had a blue sky meeting. They were all on Zoom for 5 hours, believe it or not. Press LT. And it was energized. It was good. And this is the sort of thing we come up with all sorts of new.
Yeah, it's forced everybody to work differently, to make some difficult decisions, of course, but there'll be some things, there will be silver linings out of it. We're working more efficiently, or as you say, you've upskilled. People have probably learned new things and new ways of working. So there's definitely some benefits. But that's very interesting then, what you say about, Japan still being your number one, and if you could get people in there, it would be a great year. So tell us what's happening on the ground then. I mean, I know I know you've not probably got the hotline to the government, so I do understand that.
Of course,
Are you expecting? You must be hearing noises. So what are you hearing in terms of the opening of that part of the world?
Okay, so I'll give you Japan first of all. Okay, as the UK's number one specialist operator, and Australia and New Zealand's number one operator to Japan, we work closely with the Japan government. Yeah. We were given the authority to go in there and do the very first FAM education with our own staff, which we've done with the Australia team. Okay. We had to isolate for 4 days. It was around Mount Fuji and all around there, but we had to isolate for 4 days. Okay. And then they would test it, and then they would give us the approval. Yeah. The UK was due to go at the same time. But then the UK went like this. This was back in December, and the UK figures started going up to Japan. We're like, oh, hold on a minute. Let's just hold this back a second. But that is only delayed. So we're expecting that to come back up. So as Wendy Wu tours, we should be able to lead the industry to be able to sort of say, okay, we're now testing, because the Japan government want to test it, how we will do tours and how we will operate our tours and how we will work. Because obviously the communities within Japan are very worried, foreigners coming into their country, how it will be worked. And I think that's important to say. And that's one of the things we're finding in touring. Our customers want to collectively go as a group where they feel safe. Yeah, and the governments want them to do that as well, I think, to start with. And I think so it will trickle in. I don't think it's going to be just an all for one and everyone can go and do their own. So
you're sort of paving the way. And you've done the Australia trip, which was successful. No one contracted COVID while they were there. No one.
They're happy with it. It was more about they were happy with the way that we run the trips.
Run the tour, okay.
And run the tours, and because, for example, I'll explain a little bit about some things we launched in Scotland to kind of get ready for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're waiting for the UK one to go ahead. Once we've got that, we will then get the authority to start doing exclusive groups for Wendy Wu tours in Japan, and we hope to be the first people to take customers back to Japan.
And will that be this year then, Glen?
Yes, I would. I'm going to put on it. Yes, I would love it to be right. I'd love it. Cherry Blossom. We've got over 1,500 customers booked for Cherry Blossom over 3 weeks. Okay, and Cherry Blossom is phenomenal. If you've ever seen it, right? We have 2 coaches going every single day. It's a 3-week period, and it's the most phenomenal tour that we've got, and it's one of the top selling tours. And of course, all these customers are booked, and a lot of them are sold out. And I'm 50% on it, but I'm not. It's
50%. Okay. Well, look, 50% is
the government working with us are 50% for us. Okay, that's where they are as well.
And remind us when the cherry blossom season is.
It's around I don't think the March ones will go. It's from the 25th of March to about the 12th of April.
Okay. So you're hoping maybe to the end of that.
That's March. So I think we will get the first 12 days of April in, possibly. Right. Maybe. Okay, that's what we're hoping for.
All right. Well, that's something. It's good to have a target, and it's, as you say, 50-50, but we'll keep an eye on that.
But to put it into perspective, it's our budgets. We've not included any departures until September in our budgets for the year.
Okay, so that would be upside. Nice little bonus for you.
We're looking for bonuses,
But also important for Wendy Wu to be leading the way and do it, and you know, for you know, for the industry actually.
Yeah. And I think it's good to know that the stuff that we're doing with the COVID regulations and how we're dealing with our customers during COVID, and I'll explain a little bit more about some stuff we're doing with COVID, because I think my view is, and I'm going to say it because it's I don't want to get political, but I think I've got older parents and they've kind of got a bit all worried and scared and stayed in over Christmas. And the nicest possible way I've said to my own parents, look, this is going to be around for about 5 or 10 years. I don't think it's going anywhere, right? It's going to get weaker and weaker. And what you're doing is, if you're not careful, you're committing yourself to a luxury prison sentence, watching Netflix and eating nice food at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're being told. We've got to try and live with it. We've got to be careful and safe, and
I'm not telling you,
we've got to be very.
If you're vulnerable and you need to take that thing, of course you do. But we took, just to put that in perspective with the car, I'm just going to touch on it rather than touch on it. But we launched Scotland as one of our first out of Asia routes, right?
Yeah.
And we did the Spirit of Scotland. We thought, Wendy Wu tours Scotland, really? It's like, it doesn't go, does it? It just doesn't.
Well, why not? Really? Why not?
Really? And we were like, no, why not? Why not? And the reason we did it was because all of the countries that reported into me, so New Zealand, Australia, and the UK teams all did the same thing at the same time. So New Zealand did a domestic tour, Australia did, and have you ever heard of Norfolk Island in Australia?
Yeah.
None of us knew anything about it, really, to be
honest. That's but you did a domestic tour, sold out.
Oh, no, we had to do three departures all at once, because it all sold out in Australia. Anyway, so we did Scotland, right? And it's called the Spirit of Scotland. And we obviously, when we do something, we have to say, well, what's different about other tour operators doing Scotland? Yeah, we cannot do this. There's no point in us just blending into the market and joining 20 other people at the party, because it's not going to work for us. We're Wendy Wu Tours. We've got an Asian name, an Asian feel. We do all inclusive packages. We've got to kind of keep our authenticity and not be different to that. So that's what we did, which was unusual for someone like Scotland, I think. So we did very, very different things. So that's sold out. And we have 20.
Just give us a flavour. What did you do? What did you go on the Asian theme in Scotland?
No. No. We did a very Scottish theme. Okay. Yeah. But what we did was all inclusive. All the meals were included. All the entrance fees, like we took them to Nutcracker, things like this. We did the distilleries that they wouldn't usually go to, older ones that we found. We took them on old rail journeys.
And Glen, did you sell that through the trade then, or back to your first point? Was that sold direct to your loyal customers that you could just mail and they knew about it?
Both. Okay, so we launched it through both, and that's what I was saying about my friends in the industry. When I was talking to them, they had no idea. As much as the BDMs are fantastic and send out the messages, I always say to everyone, like when you're speaking to, Hayes Travel, or you're talking to travel councils, wherever you talk to the big players, they get 500 noises a day. Yeah. I worked at STA Travel as MD, and I know what it's like. Yeah. The travel consultants sat there, they wanted to get on and do their job, and they're getting 500 noises at them. So you've got to make sure that what you're saying is interesting, it stands out, and it's worth their time reading it. And that's maybe what we need to do better with the trade to get that point across. So we're launching some new initiatives to make sure we do that and achieve that. So we don't just become blended. We want to come above the noise. Yeah. But anyway, so Scotland sold out with 28 coaches. Yeah. So that was great news. Yeah. And then we did, okay, why don't we do Christmas in Scotland? And don't forget, this is October, when we sold out. So now we're thinking we've got 10 weeks to sell out in Christmas as well in Scotland, yeah? Who wants to go to Christmas with Scotland in the Wendy Wu Tours? And we sold it. We sold out.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And
I love your kind of fleet of, you can't sell certain areas, so you just got to sell what you can sell. It's good.
Yeah, and it was picked out selectively for our customers because we had to do domestic. It had to be safe. It had to be something that we knew we could operate. Our customers were telling us, we want to travel with you. So what we started doing was we started launching lots of we call them travel parties, right? And they're more like travel shows nowadays, really. But
you don't want to use the word party, Glen, at the moment, do you?
Hold on, no, this is a good party. This is one that Boris could have taken.
Off the board party. You're allowed to have this party.
This is a lesson for the government, how we did our party. Okay, our very first party that we launched, the very first time we did it, we launched it, and we had 250 of our customers that joined us for this Zoom party. It was a Zoom party all over the country. And what we'd done was, because it was the first one, we launched with tea parties. So we delivered a tea pack to them with scones, tea, cakes, sandwiches, and at 3 p.m. on that day, we all had our tea together, and we all sat there and we all had our tea and we presented to them, and then they go off into other party rooms of tours that they're interested in. And that's how one of the initiatives started with us.
Yeah.
And it was a great thing to do. Obviously, we couldn't keep doing tea party, sending out packs and stuff like that, but we do send out things to them. But then we started doing different ones like Chinese New Year, and we've done about 30 in the year now. So we found that that's been really popular for our customers to engage with them, which is how Scotland became sold out because we focused on Scotland on one of the parties.
Nice.
So that's got a lot of interest because we were able to explain what we do and how we do it and get the flavour and the passion for customers, and then they started booking. So that worked really well for us. And then we thought, okay, now what else can we do? So Scotland continues. So there are lots of departures. It's about the quality. So then, because we're not the cheapest, but we're not the cheapest because of what we provide. Yeah. So one of the things we did was we introduced a COVID health policy for our customers. So I'm not saying I can't guarantee people wouldn't get COVID, of course, but in Scotland, the way that we did it was we took all these customers, and don't forget, our customers are over 50. A lot of them can be 70. And all of them went up to Scotland for Christmas, and they all have to go on a Wendy Wu tour. You have to be fully vaccinated to be able to go on the tour. And
that's 2 vaccines. You weren't counting the booster.
2 vaccines, And what you have to do every single day on the tour, it's mandatory that you take a flow test that we provide. Yeah. Okay. And if before you meet everybody, before everyone groups together, they're not allowed to meet before they've had their test.
They've shown that they're negative. Yeah.
Then they can get on the coach.
Okay,
and when they
great.
get on the coach, we have all cleansing, and whenever they go anywhere, we have specialized isolated areas that we organize for them. So for example, the Nutcracker, we took them there, which is a very busy area. We took them to markets, very busy areas. We took them to in the meals, there was only 6 per table, and they all came back without COVID. So that was good.
Really
so that was good. So the rep's job is, their KPI is, you must make sure you do everything you can.
Yeah, of course.
Customers. And obviously, we can't stop them from walking off and doing something, but we really put strong guidelines into them to really help them. And if there is a problem, we have a 24/7 service where we had a taxi ready to take them home.
Fine. And people feel more reassured, I think, anyway, that, far from being worried that it's too much, they probably quite like that you're probably going over the top to make sure it's really, really safe for them.
And I think it's important. I think that is important for customers booking at the moment. Not just, you can't just sell it cheaply. It's about saying not that you're going to guarantee them not that, but you've got to take the COVID thing seriously.
Yeah. And how long do you think that will be in place for? Indefinitely? Do you think on all your tours?
What we're doing is we're just launching a new called a VIP service. So we will always be there for customers. We will always make sure that you're double vaccinated to come on the tour. We'll check that and make sure that they're all isolated and all the right things. But the VIP service that we're offering our customers is we will send you your lateral flow test with the details on. Before you depart, you get a 24-hour call from us, from our call centre, and they fill in the locator form for you with you.
Great.
And then when you return, you get a 24-hour call before you return on holiday, wherever you are, Japan, wherever you may be. And then they will in the locator form with you again, complete it for you, with you, to make sure that you're, filling the answer and the questions to make sure you answer them honestly. And with the booking reference, it's all done and it's all taken care of. Brilliant. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because when I went to Spain, a few months ago, I saw 2 ladies who were in their 60s who were traveling, and they were literally crying because I don't know if you filled in one of those locator forms.
Yeah, it's really,
hard.
Really
the first one is hard work. The second one's okay, and the third one's easy. But a customer filling it in, the first one is going to be so stressful. So we want to take that stress out of them, and we want to make sure that we have their insurance details on record, we have their family records on details. Everything is in place for this VIP service to launch.
And how much does it cost, the VIP service? Is that an
approximately at the moment we're looking at about 199, and that includes the 2 flow tests for your outward journey and for your return journey.
You can add that onto any tour, can you? Yes. Any tour that you book with Wendy Wu, you can say, actually tick, I want the VIP hand-holding.
I don't want to have to worry about the locator form. I don't want to have to worry about I want the test to arrive. I want you to worry about the booking reference number. I don't want to have to start looking at a serial number, making sure it's the right one, and putting it into the locator forms and all this sort of stuff. You do the work for me. You ring me up. Yes, I have to give you 10 minutes of my time, but you're going to do it for me while I'm speaking to you and it's recorded.
Okay. All right. Now, Glen, we've jumped about a bit. Shall we continue talking about Europe whilst we were talking about Scotland and Europe? So let's talk about all the new stuff you've got. But I don't want to forget to go back, because you've talked to us really brilliantly about where you are with the reopening of Japan and how you're involved in that. So we should come back. Remind me, because we must come back and talk about the other, China.
Yeah, we will do. Yeah, we've got some stuff on China and Vietnam as well. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just carry on though, because it's exciting to hear where, all the new stuff that you've got that agents need to know about. If they're not sure about it at the minute, we need to make sure they know that you're doing all these other things.
Yeah. Okay, so the rest of Europe, what we've launched is Wendy went on holiday to Portugal to test it out. And what we do is, it's worth noting that anywhere we pick, I just want to reiterate that we know that there's 20 other tour operators going to Portugal touring, and Italy and Greece and the Russian Baltics. Okay, so it's Russian Baltics, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Scotland, and Europe. Those are our tours. Okay, so we know other tour operators go there. So why would we go there for? Why would we try and compete with this for and blind in the market? We have to make sure that we're different and indifferent, and that's what we do. And if you look at our tours, you'll see how different they are. So for example, Portugal is very much focused around vineyard touring and things like this, and it's doing different things. And Russia and the Baltics is something that you wouldn't usually do. And all of our tours are all inclusive of everything, of all your entrance fees, all your meals and everything, which other tour operators don't provide. So we want to reiterate to customers that we're never the cheapest. We don't want to be the cheapest. We want to provide the customer the very best experience.
Yeah.
And our customers, what they look for is value. Yeah. So for us at the moment, what we do is we have a lot of single travelers traveling. So at the moment, we will always try to get, campaigns going where at the moment there's no single room supplement.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a partner flies free, and we're just about to launch a business class. Everyone knows a business class tactical offer for 5 days where you can fly one-way business class and things like this. So rather than taking cash off, which you put
value in.
I detest that in our brand. I much prefer value because I think it's our customer branding that cash is just, if anyone can take cash off, it's an easy win. But I think we do that, and our customers really like that. So that's what we're doing. So if you look at the tours that we do and the entrances that they have and things that they're going to see, and you add it all up, it would be quite expensive to do that on your own anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the things that we're doing. So Portugal, and what we've done is we've linked. It's really interesting if because the global awards obviously has been put back to March, hasn't it?
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And you would have seen that part of our theme for that was Portugal and Japan.
Okay.
And everyone looked and went like, "You crazy person, Wendy, what are you talking about?" But actually, it was fantastic because it was about history and it was about Portugal first discovered Japan.
Wow. So there is a link. There's
a link, and in India as well. So Portuguese people were the first people to discover India and Japan, and that link is very much there. And
don't blow your thunder here, really, because we still got it in March. You can still do it in March for everyone.
We are doing it. No, we are doing it. But you'll see it linked, how it's linked, and how it connects. And you will want to go to Portugal, and then you want to book Japan, or the other way around. You'll see the two countries how they link, and it's really interesting looking at how they link. And so we've got links to reason why we're picking certain countries and why we do them. So Europe is a big thing for us for the travel.
But then talk about travel agents though, because you're saying they don't realize it. Like if you ask your average agent, they're probably going to know you for Japan and China and Vietnam, but not for these new destinations. So and you said you had some ways of how you're going to make sure that agents know this. So what have you got planned to make sure the trade are fully aware?
We like a bit of cheese, right? And
who doesn't?
This isn't a sales pitch, by the way, but we're going to call it, we're launching something called Wu Breakaways.
Love it.
Love it, yeah. Wu Breakaways. Yep. And it's the same sort of theme as, the other breakaways used to be many years ago, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I wonder where you got that from, Glen.
Yeah, I wonder. Anyway, so Wu Breakaways will be basically based on land only, and it will be, to start with, we're putting 10 different tours in. They're not departure dates, just 10 tours that you can select as an agent, and points make towards getting a free trip, or you get points and value you can pay towards a trade rate. So we're putting Wu Breakaways with a trade rate in there, and if you get points, you can actually get them down to free.
Great.
And that will start off with 5 in Europe and 5 in Asia, like the Victoria Mekong, for example. There's one in there for India. The cheapest one, if you like, the lowest priced one on a trade rate would be India, the India Triangle, and the Victoria Mekong.
And these are land only, you said, so they'd have to add their flights, but they can get the tour.
Yeah. And I believe that for the travel trade is the right thing to do, because travel agents can go and get much cheaper flights than we can probably find for them. A lot of them have good relationships with airlines, and they want their upgrades and all sorts of stuff. Different people want different things.
And how do they get these points? Is it by making sales or by doing training?
No, really, really easy.
Yeah.
We want to make it so simple because Bamboo, which was our incentive, is being disbanded for this.
Okay.
Okay. 1 passenger, 1 point. Simple as that. Doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter where it is. Portugal, Scotland, China, Japan. 1 passenger, 1 point.
Very easy.
You only have to get 2 points to get yourself off.
Perfect.
And it's per location. Yeah. So you can group them together in a branch, or a travel council can branch them to themselves. It's not for the company, it's for individual branches.
Okay.
And so we will work with that. And we're working on that.
When does that launch, Glen?
That will launch. I just spoke to our product director and I just said, I want it launched by Friday.
Right, well.
It probably won't be. We discussed it a week ago, but I think realistically it will be next week. Watch out this space on Wendy Wu Tours on the trade website, because it'll be Wu Breakaways, and you'll see everything on there. And you'll be able to put your registration in, and then we'll come back to you. You put down 3 recommended dates that you'd like, and then we come back to you to choose the date that's best for the tour for you to go on.
Yeah.
And then we will select that for you.
And I guess, as you say, agents will then be fully aware that, because they know you can win or earn these points on any departure, it'll start to raise your awareness amongst them that you've got this huge portfolio in Europe now, Scotland, etc., Russian, Baltic, etc. So that will be, you're rewarding agents and getting them to try your tours. So that's a real plus, but it's just that awareness raising of what you're now doing.
And not just that, there is a trade price if you don't do any bookings.
Okay, fine.
So, and it's with your partner. It's with you fly with your partner, whoever you want to trend, whatever. So it's not an education you get with other agents.
So you can still get a discounted fare if you haven't made a
trade. There's a trade rate.
Right, trade rate. Yeah.
Okay. So then you don't even have to have done a booking, and you can say how much will it be to do a special. We've negotiated special rates for our trade partners.
Yeah. And although it launches next week, is it just for sort of peaks, or this is your new scheme now that runs
new scheme forever? Yeah, that's the new scheme. Wu breakaways. We're going to test how it goes. We've got 10 to start with, and we've got another 10 ready, providing it's perceived well by the travel trade and they like it and they think that's the right thing for them.
Good. All right. Well, that sounds fantastic. How exciting. All right. So shall we go back to, because of course, even though you've got all this new stuff, you're not deserting that part of the world. You're obviously still, trying as hard as you can to make sure that reopens and you can get those people that have booked maybe 3 or 4 times to where they want to go on some of those bucket list destinations. So we covered Japan. What's the latest with China then?
Okay, so China, that's a little bit more. Obviously, we work closely. We've got close links. We've got a big team in China, and we own our own destination management company. Everything is our own assets. Everything's our own assets now, and so that is our biggest. Japan we have, China we have, and Vietnam we've got the Victoria Mekong, our own cruise ship, of course. So there's certain places you've got your own assets that you have to kind of think that's important that we focus on that as a business. With China, there's a funny thing actually. We had a phone call yesterday because we're cancelling bookings up to the 16th of March at the moment. Okay, and one of our customers, right, I don't know where she's been. She said, "What? My China book is being cancelled." Because she's going on the 17th of March or something. Where she was like, "Really?" I said, "Oh my God, I'm so upset. I want to really go to China." And she said, "What am I going to do?" And so she's transferred to the other year. But it was quite funny that customers were ringing even. We're having to ring. They don't realise. Yeah. They don't even know that China's closed. And most customers do, of course, but some customers are still don't, which is quite interesting. And we're not proactively, because you don't know how the world with China. This is where I see China. We haven't put China into our business plan for this year. Right. Okay. To be realistic with it. Okay. That doesn't mean to say it's not going to operate though, because I think China could suddenly say next week, right, you can all come in now.
Right. Yeah. So it's very difficult.
It's very difficult. We have links to certain parts, and China's a bit like the United States. It has different government states that we work with very closely. And some of them may say, well, we're trying to push through, and Wendy's working very closely with the Chinese states of affairs. And what we're doing is I think that China will operate in October, but it's not in our business plan. I don't think it will operate before October realistically, but you never know. So we're not going to cancel trips just in case. Because it may operate. But if people wish to choose, we allow them a free change anyway to change to any tour that they wish to change to. Okay.
But realistically, business plan wise, not for this year, but who knows? It could come back and you'll be ready.
We're ready. We're absolutely. The one thing we haven't done is our China team are very much there. They're in Xi'an, and they're all ready. We've got all of our reps that are really highly trained in China. They're obviously doing other jobs, but we're in contact with them. We're in constant training online with them, and everything like that. So they're all ready to go at any point. We could operate a tour to China tomorrow if we had to. Right. So we're very, very on board with it, and it will definitely come back next year. I mean, I think people are more optimistic and say October, but I'm sort of being a bit more cautious. In our business plan, we at least in our business plan, we put only departures from September, to be fair, for touring. But we're actually getting away. We've got Sri Lanka sold out for February and March. We've got 4 tours, and every customer's paid their balance and wants to go.
Right. Okay.
So that's going ahead, yeah. So Sri Lanka's going ahead, so that's not a problem. So people want to go, and they are prepared to go, and that's the point I'm trying to make is we've got on our books right now more business than when we had in 2019 overall. We're this year for 2022, we're probably about 2 or 3% up. 2023, we're about 50% up. 2024, we're about 700% up.
And are you finding that people are upgrading it and thinking, actually, do you know what? I've been locked down for a couple of years. I'm going to do an even bigger trip or a longer trip or a more, business class flights. Are they sort of upgrading and really splashing out?
They are. And I said to the team, don't be worried about doing tours that are 28 days and asking for £10,000 from the customer. because they want it.
People
But you know
go.
what? It's not so much what we're finding is, right, Lucy, is on when we do these travel shows now, right? And because we've been doing, I mean, you know, you get to see the same regular faces because they want to keep joining, even though they booked. And what's happening now is we have the same group of people. It makes me laugh every time because I know the names of their kids, I know the names of their pets and stuff, yeah. Because they sit in these chat rooms afterwards because they want to chat to us. They're excited about their trips. And a lot of them have got 4 trips booked.
Brilliant.
And then they think, oh, you just inspired me to book my 5th trip. And they're always inspired to book something else when we do something else. So when one of them was saying to us, when we were talking to him, we were talking about Greece. And he's like, can you just tell me about Greece? I said, no, Jeffrey, you have to wait until the Greece travel show. He said, I really want to book it because I was in there in the army and I wanted to go back there. And he's like about 75, 80, whatever. But these customers, what you've got to think about is customers want these adventures and they want to get away, and they don't, you know, COVID could ruin that for people, because if you sat back for 5 years and said I'm gonna be cautious,
you lost a lot of lost time.
This is the 3rd year now. People have retired, they've earned their money to retire, they've earned their right to have an adventure, and of course you've got to be cautious, and that's the one thing that we're obsessed with, which is like the VIP service, the COVID health policy we have. We can't guarantee things, of course, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that it's safe and travel, because you all want your adventures in life still, right?
Yeah. And are you attracting new to Wendy Wu customers? I mean, and you talk a lot about these loyal customers who just want to travel with you because they love traveling with you and they're trying different things. But have you managed to appeal to a new market at all?
And Christmas in Scotland, 70% of them are new customers.
Oh, really? Wow. And were they new? I don't know if you drilled down, but were they just totally new to touring, but they just wanted to get away somewhere?
But they didn't know of us, and we've done some work with some media, and it was direct, actually. It wasn't through much of trade, but it was we've done some work with some media partners, and it worked really, really well. And customers,
now you've got to keep hold of them and make sure they love touring generally, and they'll go away with you.
Our internal target is when a customer goes on a tour with us is to have an 80% repeat customer, and we achieve that.
Brilliant. All right, listen, I'm conscious of time, Glen. We were just going to talk about Vietnam, not least because you mentioned it very briefly there, but you've got your own ship there on the Mekong, which is new, and obviously you've just launched it, and then this all happened. So what's happening in Vietnam?
Okay, so in Vietnam, we are doing some domestic stuff on some charters for businesses, and a lot of corporates are hiring actually.
Okay.
And we're getting lots of charters on the Victoria Mekong, which is quite interesting. So we've got our tours departures, we've got our beach and flop departures, and we've got our charters. Yeah. And what we do is on the Victoria Mekong, we go on a different, I'm just putting in there just so people are aware, but we go on a different part of the Victoria Mekong. The cruise ship itself hasn't really been used that much. So all of our team went on a conference. We all know it really well. It's got jacuzzi, it's got bars, it's beautiful. It's full fun. Honestly, it's amazing. So gutting that we can't use it. And at the moment, properly for UK customers. But we go on little islands that people haven't gone to. There's like one island I remember going to, there's about 300 inhabitants. You get to talk to them and walk around and have lunch there, you know, and then basically what we do is slightly different. Is we do 4-night cruises and 3-night cruises, not just a 7-night block. You can do 3 and 4 added together. Yeah. But there's not many cruise ships that do that. And the part of the Victoria Mekong we're on, you don't see any of the other cruise ships. So we're on our own. So we picked an area on the cruise. We got the permission because our partners there are we have a joint venture with a Vietnamese big company out there. And so we managed to get our own part of the Victoria Mekong River, which is really good.
Got your own, it's not just your own ship, you've got your own part of the river. I love it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say no one's on there, but you don't see any other the UK operators on there.
So when do you think you'll be able to get Brits, or when are you selling ahead for that? On the ship?
Vietnam, I think, will happen sooner. Yeah. Vietnam will be, because TUI, I believe that TUI are doing some trials themselves, and I'm just talking about them, but I believe that there's already some UK customers and German customers trialing Vietnam already, because we're very close to all of this, so we know exactly what's happening. So I think that it won't be very long. They're basically practicing something on Phuket Island. So I think what we'll find is that once that goes, because the Vietnamese people and Cambodia's already been given the go-ahead, but you can't operate Cambodia without Vietnam.
Without Vietnam,
we just need Vietnam to kind of get there first. And
that should be this year then. So
I think April, May.
Brilliant. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the moment, the way things are going, the world's going, is, you know, you look at us in the UK and you look at Australia, for example, the Australian team, they were all being so cautious. Now they're like, let it spread through the country. And the UK, let it spread through the country. And
we're not going to hold you to any, you know.
No, I know, but I'm realistic, because I think China will be much later, because I think that any country, in my view, that unfortunately, we're not politicians, but any country that's trying to achieve a zero tolerance is never going to happen. And eventually I think everyone will wake up and realize that this is like a really awful
Yes, they need
illness.
to change their sort of approach before we're going to be allowed in. If they're going,
Yeah.
if they're going to continue the way they are, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah. And I think they will achieve that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Oh my goodness. There's so much, Glen. I mean, goodness me. One more thing. Yes, please.
One more thing, right? One more thing we're launching. It's called Wendy's Den. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And Wendy's Den is the BDMs in the UK. We're coming out to you all, launching next week. And each BDM gets given £1,000, and each agent submits from a location a marketing campaign that they would like to operate for Wendy Wu tours to promote us in Europe and Asia. And the winning one on the Wendy Wu Den basically gets given £1,000 marketing budget.
Oh, are you a dragon?
To promote.
Are you one of the dragons?
I can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be Deborah Meaden, I think. I'll be Deborah Meaden. Wendy's Wendy, isn't she? She'd be Wendy.
Wendy will be Wendy, but you can be the Deborah. I think we've all got a bit of dragon in, so that's going to be fun. So, okay, so agents can just apply. The details will be on the website next week. And that's great. So £1,000 marketing spend, which they obviously have to do joint marketing with you guys. But they can do anything. They could do their own event for consumers, or they could do
whatever they feel. And it's targeted towards agents that basically probably haven't done lots of bookings with us before, maybe realistically. So that if it works, the BDMs will be a continued campaign.
Yeah.
If we find that they generate some bookings from it, from doing this, then there's no reason why we wouldn't do it, because why, an agent knows their customers better than anyone else in their community. So why not give them the opportunity to get kick-started? Because I think the biggest thing,
is there a limit on this, Glen? Like, how many £1,000 can you give away?
Basically it's £1,000 per BDM for January.
Per BDM. Okay.
Per BDM. And there's 3 BDMs. Sandra's in the Northeast, Glen Thomas is in the West Midlands, and Joe's in the South. Okay,
so 3 chances to win, but if it goes really well, that you would continue it and support them going forward. So it's worth winning.
We think that the travel trade, because I can appreciate for a lot of the travel trade, but particularly home workers as well, they can put in for this as well and different things, but particularly for the travel trade, cash is king at the moment, right? And for someone like Wendy Wu Tours, our challenge as a business is a lot of our tours are great and they're good when you get to go. But you need the agents need the cash now,
Yeah.
And I get that. So that's why we're trying to introduce Europe. We're doing a scheme with the home workers. We're trying to look at a scheme with them with deposits, so we kind of are able to release cash quicker for them and things like that. So we're working on different commercial schemes with different agents. We're trying to come up with solutions that the whole industry's been through, and we're all in it together, but we've got to come out of it together and fight in. And what we don't want them to do is, from my point of view, selfishly, I want them to still tap into the high end touring and not worry about, because EasyJet and all these sort of cheaper holidays are great and they're focused on them because they're going now, and I get that, but I also want them to be able to sort of focus on the high end stuff, but reward them quicker maybe somehow.
So making it as easy as possible, both if you're a consumer to travel, but also if you're an agent to book through Wendy Wu, because you're going to cover everything, you're going to help them.
It's going to go. It's going to go. You're not going to be caught up in lots of administration. And your customers are going to be safe.
Well, I think travel agents have had far too much admin, haven't they, over the last couple of years, and they just want to get back to selling. So so if you're taking some of that burden off them, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we could carry on, couldn't we? There's so much going on.
That's great. I think there's a lot in there, but thank you very much.
There's a lot in there. Well, we wish you
everyone appreciates that.
No, not at all. It's really good to get your insight actually about that part of the world, because over, in the Far East, because we're not close to it. We just know it's close, but it's great to hear that you're doing, making great strides, and you're talking to governments and talking to officials to get those, to get yourself in there and lead the way. So that's great. And then also just so good to be reminded of everything else that you've done to pivot, in the pandemic and sell these other things. And I hope agents can, pick up on that and get behind it for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right, we wish you all the best, and we'll see you at the Globes with your Portuguese, Japanese extravaganza.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.